Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. I hope your day, your week, and your weekend have been going very well so far. This is Clash of the Titans, the video series here at Guy Boston Sports, where I go through each and every single ranked on ranked matchup throughout the entire college football season, giving you guys deeper insight, deeper analysis, but more importantly, more picks for each of these big time pivotal college football matchups. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down number 5 ranked Ole Miss going on the road to take on number 9 ranked Georgia in an SEC battle that is going to be one to remember with massive playoff implications, SEC championship implications, you name it, this game's got it. But more importantly, guys, I've got some really great picks to go ahead and share with you. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day and a new week of college football comes some new opportunities to go ahead and make some money. This is one of 5, yes, that's right, 5 Clash of the Titans videos coming out this week on Guy Boston Sports. Got a lot of great games and a lot of videos, so make sure if you haven't to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And one last thing, guys, before we go ahead and start breaking down this game, make sure to comment down below who you think is winning this big-time SEC showdown between Ole Miss and Georgia. Comment Ole Miss or Georgia down below in the comment section. Let me know who you're riding with. With all that being said, guys, I'm a little under the weather, so let's go ahead and start breaking down this game. Like I said, number 5 ranked Ole Miss on the road taking on number 9 ranked Georgia in Athens, Georgia. We have a 3:30 p.m. kickoff on Saturday. This game is, in my opinion, the absolute game of the week for college football. It's a big-time showdown, 2 top 10 teams going toe-to-toe. There's so many implications here, and for my first pick in today's video, it's a pretty simple one, and I think it's a pretty easy bet here. I'm going with Ole Miss on the spread, plus 9.5. Jumping over to the outlier screen to go ahead and break this pick down. I'm grabbing it for minus 135. Best odds available to me over on ESPN Bet. This play is also available on a couple of other different sports books for varying odds. As always, guys, make sure to shop around for the best sportsbook odds available. It is very important when it comes to value and making money in sports betting. But Ole Miss plus 9.5. Look, it's just too many points. To put it in the most simple terms for you guys, this is way too many points for an Ole Miss team, that is ranked top 5 in the country, has not lost a game this year, well coached, tons of talent on both sides of the football. 9.5 points. I get they're on the road. I get this is the toughest game they've had all year. All those things I totally understand, but 9.5 points is a lot of points, especially because as good as Georgia football is, this year's version of Georgia has some clear flaws and has some clear weaknesses that I think Ole Miss can go ahead and attack. Now, starting with the negatives, the number one thing I'm a little bit afraid of here, obviously, is the matchup with Georgia's rushing offense against Ole Miss rushing defense. Ole Miss has been terrible defensively against the run this year, tied for 96th in college football, giving up 157.7 rushing yards per game this season to opposing teams. That's not good, especially when Georgia's strength this year offensively has been their rushing offense. You see right there, 41st in the nation, averaging 185.5 rushing yards per game this season. It's a bit of a problem there, and that's one of the key things I'm worried about. You also add to the fact that Ole Miss's pass rush has not been very good. Georgia's offensive line has been good enough. I don't know if Ole Miss is going to be able to put pressure on Gunnar Stockton or stop the run, which obviously is a bit of a problem. So I do understand between home field advantage and those numbers there, why Georgia might be favored in this spot. Now, I should mention the actual line itself, I believe, is either 7.5 or 8.5. I'm grabbing it at 9.5. The actual line at one point today dropped all the way down to 6.5 as people seemed to keep betting Ole Miss. It's now kind of going back up as people are taking Georgia. I'm taking a point off at taking it to plus 9.5. I think that Ole Miss should keep this game tight. And the reason why they should be able to hang around here, honestly, is that we talked about how Georgia has a clear advantage against Ole Miss's defense. Well, if we go ahead and flip that and show Ole Miss's offense against Georgia's defense, a very clear indicator right here. Ole Miss, a top 10 passing offense in college football in terms of yards per game, averaging over 310 passing yards per game this year. Georgia, the one weakness they've had defensively, besides the fact they have no pass rush to talk about, which a bit of a problem here. You got to put pressure on the quarterback. Georgia has struggled to do that this year. Georgia's pass defense, 58th in the nation, giving up 215.5 passing yards per game this year. That's not good. It's a clear area of weakness. Their lack of coverage for their defense, they haven't been great in covering in terms of like their secondary, covering the opposing receivers. Man, that was I was struggling to get that out. Like I said, long day, a little under the weather. My point being, let me make this very clear. Georgia's pass defense, their secondary, has been weak, and they've been having a hard time defending against passing offenses. Especially you have an offense from Ole Miss that is one of the best passing offenses in the nation. With the lack of pass rush to add to that, it's not looking good for Georgia defensively in this spot. These are two very good teams. Both sides have a clear weakness that the opposing team can attack and take advantage of. And because of that, I just think 9.5 points is far too many. Georgia has a big advantage. Ole Miss has a big advantage. I think they're going to collide. They're going to clash here. And I just think 9.5 points, even though it's in Athens, Georgia, it's just too many points here. Ole Miss should be able to go ahead and hang around. So far in 2025, Georgia has been an okay cover team, 40% against the spread this season. If we go ahead and just kind of focus in on this particular line of Georgia minus 9.5, they have covered it in 67% of their games this year. However, versus Tennessee and Alabama, which by the way are sort of the comparable games here, they failed to cover in both those games. Now they did beat Tennessee, but they did lose to Alabama. Ole Miss, meanwhile, plus 9.5. Obviously, they've won most of their games, so they've covered that plus 9.5 in every game. They are 67% against the spread in general this year. The one other area of concern for Ole Miss is the level of testing they've had this year, in the sense of Georgia has played Bama, they played Tennessee, even Auburn. I know Auburn's not a ranked team, but Auburn, in terms of a non-ranked team, they're one of the better and tougher non-ranked teams out there. Ole Miss has LSU, which is a nice win in their back pocket, but besides LSU, their next best win is a toss-up between Tulane and Washington State. In terms of strength of schedule, Georgia has definitely been more battle-tested here. You also have the fact that Ole Miss has only played one road game this season. Most of their games have been home on the road in Athens, Georgia. Definitely a tough spot. So that's the other thing to keep in mind here. But again, I'm not picking Ole Miss to win. I'm not even saying they're going to keep it within 7. As long as they keep this game within 10 points, which I think they can because of their offense, they go ahead and cover the spread. These two teams did play last season at Ole Miss, and they did beat Georgia 28-10 last year. So you do have the recent track record of success against Georgia. And one last point to make here, guys. The Ole Miss Rebels are 5-2 against the spread in their last 7 games with a 71.4% hit rate. That is brought to us by Outlier. So some pretty good numbers there across the board. Again, Ole Miss, just hang around, and we should be good to go here. All right, guys, for my second pick in this video, kind of piggybacking off of a lot of the points I just made, I'm going with the over in this game, 55.5, which I'm grabbing for minus 118 over on BetMGM. Both of these teams have pretty solid offenses. Ole Miss in particular, their offense is one of the best in college football, top 20 scoring, top 30 in both passing yards, rushing yards per game, top 20 for yards per play. Pretty good offensive line, a lot of good numbers there. And like we previously mentioned, they have a clear advantage against Georgia's pass defense, and Georgia, the lack of a pass rush. They don't force many turnovers. A lot of advantages here for Ole Miss offensively. But again, on the flip side, Georgia's offense, specifically their rushing offense, has that advantage over a really bad Ole Miss run defense. And similar to Georgia, Ole Miss, not much of a pass rush to speak of. The line's a bit high. I know last year, obviously, total only got to 38 points, but both these teams have strong offenses, specifically Ole Miss, like I said. And both teams have some clear areas of weakness defensively that the other team can take advantage of. Now, admittedly, a bit risky because both teams have been under teams consistently this year. In 2025, you see, in terms of this particular line of 55.5, a 67% hit rate on the under for Ole Miss and 83% hit rate on the under for Georgia. Now, in terms of the general total, it's 50-50 for Ole Miss. For Georgia, looks like 2. You got the Tennessee game and the Marshall game. But yeah, it'll be interesting here. I don't know. I might not do a full unit on this one, but I do like the play a lot still. I think the over is a good bet. I think it's going to be a tight game, a back and forth battle where we're going to see a healthy amount of blows and a healthy amount of points scored in this one. So I like the over at 55.5. I've got one more pick to share with you guys in today's video. Spoiler alert, it is a player prop. But first, before we go ahead and break down that final play, I want to talk to you guys about the sponsor of today's video, Epic. Epic Fantasy is a new DFS fantasy app that is going to absolutely dominate the game. If you like player props, this is a great place to play. They offer better lines and better payouts than the competition out there, and that's just within their pick'em mode, in which you pick more or less based on player stats. The real unique thing about Epic is the fact that you actually go into the fade 'em section and fade other players' entries. Yup, that is right. If they even get one part of their entry wrong, you walk home with the bag. Go try Epic today using code GUYBOSTON, and they'll match your first deposit up to $50. The link will be down below in the description as well as in the pinned comment, so make sure to go ahead and check that out. Special thank you to Epic for sponsoring today's video. And last but not least, guys, our third and final pick in today's video is a player prop. Going back to the outlier screen, we're going with Chauncey Bowens of the Georgia Bulldogs over 51.5 rushing yards. I'm grabbing that for -114 over on FanDuel. Best odds available to me. From an overall season standpoint, the data seems to be pretty solid. 3 of 6 games this year, he's cashed the over to 50% hit rate, averaging 52.5 rushing yards per game this year. Now, the tough part of this, obviously, is the fact that there's a very split backfield between himself and Nate Frazier. They both each have exactly 60 carries, a 24.8% run share. And you do see Gunnar Stockton has a healthy amount of carries as well. So there's a lot of guys getting touches in this offense. Now, the good thing is they run the football a lot in this system. You do see a 56% run rate, which obviously is well above the league average. Georgia, very run-heavy team, like we talked about a couple times in this video. Very good matchup here. Look at the right side of the screen. Ole Miss, 96th in the nation in rushing yards allowed per game. So it's a pretty good matchup here. It really is tough picking which of the two running backs to back here. I just feel like lately they've been trusting Chauncey Bowens a little bit more. You see 119 yards versus Alabama, 70 yards versus Kentucky. Now, he didn't get much work versus Auburn there, only 5 yards, and he only had a few carries in that game. But you do see the run share prior to that. He had 39% run share versus Alabama, 34% run share versus Kentucky. The Auburn game was a bit of an abnormality. Only twice this year has his run share gone under 24%. It was the Auburn game and then week 1 versus Marshall. So I do think that he gets a healthy amount of work. And honestly, Nate Frazier was dominating the run share earlier on. He's kind of caught up to him now and got some more work over the last several weeks. I mean, the sportsbooks are telling you the line for Bowens is 51.5. The lines for Nate Frazier is like 33.5, which is telling you who the sportsbooks thinks are going to get more of the carries and more of the work running the football in this matchup. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but obviously a clear matchup advantage. Ole Miss's run defense, it's just not good enough, and I think that Georgia, with the way they run their offense, the running backs are going to have success on the ground here. Not much of a pass rush either. Georgia's offensive line should create holes and create room for Chauncey Bowens to run. For -114, I think it's a pretty good bet here. All right, guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. And again, make sure to check out all of the Clash of the Titans videos here on the channel. By the time this one drops, LSU Vanderbilt will already be out, and then the rest of them will follow within the hour or so of this video dropping. So make sure to tune in for all those videos Saturday morning. Until next time, guys, I hope you're all winners. Make sure to go ahead and subscribe. Hit that like button, drop a comment, all that good stuff. Let's go ahead and make some money, baby. Let's go.